I've got another small episode for you. So this one, we are gonna go into Warsong Gulch. But first, I am turning in the Demon Insignia to Thrall. I got that in the last episode where we went into Ragefire Chasm. We defeated the demons within, and I turned in the item for some rewards. Now, one of the rewards is Horde tokens. Finally, I find some. With that, I head back to Dollar Run to see how many I need to actually get a mount. And I need 10, at least for those mounts, and I check over there, and I need 10 for the Wolf and Fox mount. Now, I didn't get 10, I only have maybe like 2 or 3 at the moment, but I can find other ways of getting some Horde tokens. Now then, speaking of tokens, last episode you saw a sneak peek into my mighty fortress. Right now I am gathering up all of the treasure that I've accumulated, from gold coins to jewels and other little trinkets that are labeled as treasure, so I can go deposit them into the coffer in my base, because the more wealth you accumulate, the stronger the purge will be when the time comes to actually trigger it and see how well my fortress does. But we are going to be saving that for later. I'm just depositing all of the goodies right now. Now the siege jewels, or I don't know actually how you pronounce that, again it's in German, those are labeled as treasure, but they're not actually treasure. Right there you can see the wealth I've accumulated. It would be a threat level of 4. I get it higher later on, but the jewels that I was mentioning just now, you actually turn them into a guy at the crossroads in order to get more Horde tokens. I find that out later on, so you're not going to see it right now. Now then, that right there that you saw is a boar farm. It's a modded item, but you can raise up boar and basically get free exquisite meat and raw pork, which are some of the more advanced meats that you can get later on. I cook them up in order to feed my village here, because I've got plenty of warriors as well as workers that need to eat. After that, I gather up my warband, and it is time now to head to the Warsong Gulch. Now, I didn't get to do the Warsong Gulch in Season 1 because it wasn't complete yet. The outside of it is the exact same as in World of Warcraft, at least in the vanilla version, where the Horde entrance is going to be in the Northern Barrens, while the Alliance entrance is going to be in the middle of Ashenvale. And by middle, I mean more like southern middle along the mountain lines. Because it's not too far away, I just hop on my horse instead of taking a Zeppelin or whatever, and I head right there. Now, I've been here before. This is where I tried to tame the Tauren, only to find out that you cannot tame them. Right outside are some vendors. Now, to pay the vendors, you have to have heartstones. Heartstones can either be a decorative item that you could place down, or they are considered currency in this server for whatever reason. You can get red ones and you can get blue ones, depending on your faction or whatever faction you defeat. You are able to get both as either faction, so it doesn't matter too much, but you'll get them here in Warsong Gulch. That's basically the PvP currency. Now, when you first walk into the actual Warsong Gulch, rather than just the camp outside, you will find some more vendors. That's kind of like the spawning area, and as you turn the corner, you will find the actual building. This is a one-for-one import. The entire building is one model, rather than a replicated one like you will find in other places. Heading inside, you will find some Horde guards as well as some flags. Now, this isn't a capture the flag game like it is in the actual Warsong Gulch. Instead, it is more like a Rathi Basin, where you have to capture the flags at several points. Most of the map is relatively the same, however, between the two main bases, it is a bit filled in with other locations in order to fill in that map, so you can go and capture various flags, with one in the middle being neutral, and you'll see that in a second. Right now I'm going through a couple of the Horde bases that I can't really do anything because I am part of the Horde, which means I can't loot the items. The items are kind of locked behind bars or doors until you can capture the flag, so I head to the first Alliance one, where you can see that the door to that building is locked. Once I capture the flag, it will open up for me to loot the chest inside of it. So I wait there. Now, it does take quite a long time to capture a flag, so I'm kind of speeding it up here. I'm going to skip most of those, that way you don't have to sit around and watch the flags go up and down. But once I capture, I head on inside. There's some decorative items that you can take. Most of it is kind of just roleplay-y, but there is at least 1 or 2 chests per base that you can loot with some decent gear or loot, sometimes usually just coins or potions, decorative items, and you'll see right there is the bridge that has the neutral flag, so you can capture that no matter what faction you are. Now, I have not played on the Brigand faction before, so I don't know how it would work if you are the 3rd faction. Probably the exact same, but with their flag instead. They don't exactly have a spawn in here, so I guess that's gonna have to be up for experimentation later on. The enemies here are pretty easy. I would say, if I had to guess, they are roughly iron to steel tier, if you understand that difficulty range, kind of like level 30 to 40. And right there you see me getting stuck. This happens quite frequently where all of my companions kind of like gang pile on top of me and then I can't move. Sometimes I can order them to move away from me, which will free me. Other times I have to cheat and use ghost mode to get out of them, but this time I was able to free myself. I opened up the next tent and I found tons of silver, gold, and I found one of the red heartstones, as well as some plans and schematics, but I'm not sure what they are for as it is all written in German. I also find a Kultira sword, as well as just a random iron broadsword. You also have a helmet there as well. I really like the fact that this updated map has tons of unique items that you could just find laying around that you can pick up. It makes it feel more like an RPG and makes you also want to explore and search every nook and cranny for anything that you can find. Now, I am wrapping up doing the smaller camps that are in the middle of the map, and I am approaching the larger Night Elf base at the top of the hill. Right there is the last flag to capture before I head on to the main base. The main base, just like the Warsong one, is going to be the exact same building, only there are some differences that you'll see in a second here. First off, with the Horde, their spawn is off to the side away from the building. Now, if you've played World of Warcraft in the Warsong Gulch before, you know the tunnel that you can go through and you can take a left that will lead up and around to the top of the building. Well, in the Alliance camp, and you'll see that in a second here, when you go up through the tunnel and you go into that kind of like outside walkway to head up top, there is a separated road off to the side. That is actually the Alliance spawning point. And just so, as you go on top of the building, you'll find an extra platform that has all of their vendors as well. And you can talk to them and purchase things because the vendors are not faction locked. Though I did get ahead of myself, as right now is when you're going to see me take that turn, and you'll see the green portal that shows that it is the Alliance spawning point right there. Now, this main building is going to be the last capture point that I need in order to fully take on the Warsong Gulch. Now, unlike other areas that are out in the world, these flags will reset. I actually don't know after how long. I wasn't really paying attention or counting, but they do eventually reset so you can complete it once again. Other flags that I've noticed in the world, once they are captured, then they are captured. That's more supposed to be for PvP purposes against other players. This here can be both PvP and PvE. But now it was time to jump down and complete the Warsong Gulch by defeating these last few enemies and capturing the flag. Now, of course, I did jump pretty far, which almost killed me, and I was actually kind of surprised it didn't. Some of my guys came down with me and took on the Night Elves for me while I pulled back and had a potion. Once I healed up a little bit, I took out the rest of them and I went over to capture the flag. So there you have it. I've now defeated Warsong Gulch for the Horde, and that's gonna be the end of this video. I do go back to the vendors at some point to see what else they have. Apparently the vendors do change up what they offer frequently, so you can see that there. I didn't have enough of the Heartstones in order to purchase anything, but it's fine. It didn't seem like they had anything I really wanted anyway. And until then, I will see you in the next episode where I go and I take on Ashenvale. So I'll see you next time.